selection, code of practice, conduct and reputation. Staff selection. In this area we look at ethical and lawful use of CCTV, the quality of the staff engaged in it, how they understand legislation, the codes of practice, and how they can operate technical equipment. And the producing of quality images fit for purpose, fit for evidence, where there is a clear audit trail between the digital download of the image and that image appearing in a court of law. As part of this process, we'll review existing guidance and procedures that focus on management, training and technical standards currently in place across both the public and private sectors. The work will focus on a balanced approach informed by existing legislation, addressing the needs of safety and security within our communities, whilst ensuring that the issues of privacy and collateral intrusion are central to our agenda. We'll need to consider the views of all sections of the communities, and to us that is part of the responsible approach to the deployment of CCTV. And in some areas we will be looking at seeing how the codes of practice that are enshrined within RIPA legislation, elements of that can be imported into the work that we're doing. And where appropriate, we'll seek to address any reasonable concerns that may prevail in a positive, constructive and meaningful manner. And really CCTV and the deployment of CCTV, but there is a triangle of tension that exists out there in society at the moment between the CCTV users, the monitoring organisations and the public. And we hope with the development of the forum and setting on the road to our task, we can come out with answers that are going to reassure people and a methodology that's going to reassure all sections of the community. Obviously the relative legislation will apply. We've got the recent Protection Freedoms Bill which received broad assent on the 1st of May. Obviously issues that relate to data protection. These are all the legislation that will inform our guiding principles. I'm just going to whiz through very quickly what I'm sure all of you are familiar with, particularly Schedule 2 if you're interested in CCTV, from the Protection Freedoms Bill, and look at what it concerns, considerations to whether to use CCTV at all. Is this necessary? Is the use of CCTV proportionate to the crime risk or health risk that prevails at that particular time? Looking at the standards, types of systems and the apparatus used. The technical standards for the systems, how are the systems, where they're located, and is that location fit for purpose? And the publication of information about our systems. Best practice quite clearly dictates that we should always publicise the fact that CCTV is in operation. For what reasons? What are the primary objectives of the deployment of that CCTV? Where we can, or who we can contact to obtain, to facilitate subject access, and to be, and who we can contact in relation to any FOI questions that we wish to put. It's about standards applicable to persons using or maintaining standards of apparatus, and this is where training is so essential. We've seen many examples over the years where although CCTV has been an excellent piece of kit in the crime prevention program, the quality of the images have not been fit for purpose. And sadly we look back, just over 20 years ago, with the Jamie Bulger case, where significant work had to be done, and in fact the images were downloaded and sent to the United States, to NASA, for further redevelopment. Yet it was 1942, I think it was the first time that CCTV was deployed in this country, and between 1942 and 1982, the standards have not, really grown or sort of developed that significantly, to reassure us that everything was in place. We look at who has access to, how is this information disclosed, etc. And we do know of circumstances where CCTV has been irresponsibly downloaded and irresponsibly disseminated. And these are issues that we certainly have to examine. Procedures for complaints and consultation. How one can make a complaint, the vehicles that we can provide to facilitate that purpose, and also to consulting with the local community. Unless crime prevention engages with all sections of the community, it will not work. We have to win the trust of everybody to make an initiative work. We live in a very complex society. with diverse needs, etc. And we need to engage with all areas of the community, and reassure them that we're not about the surveillance society, but what our driving message is, the development of a safe society. So, I've slightly preempted myself, but we hold the view that in a modern and fair society, the use of CCTV technology should be about promoting confidence as opposed to concern or anxiety. And as I've stated, it should be about developing a safe society as opposed to a surveillance society. Our vision is to develop an organisation operating under a framework of guiding principles, ethics and values. And on the issue of ethics, we've invited a professor of policing ethics on board to the forum to help and advise us in all the decision-making processes we undertake. That is Professor Alison McVeigh, who's currently at Cumbria University and has done work with the Home Office. And her job is to keep an eye on the work we do and just point us in the right direction from an ethical perspective. We're about transparency. We're developing a website, a Yahoo chat shop, where our minutes will be posted, etc. We're about legality, we're about fairness and proportionality. So here we're taking some of the principles of RIPA and enshrining it in the work that we will undertake. We're also about accountability and non-discriminatory practices. So what have we done to date? Well, it's very, very early days. We had our first meeting on the 25th of January with a press release. We've had 2 forum meetings, the presentation of 2 security conferences. This is the 3rd, albeit a sparse audience. We have a ratification of our terms of reference. We've met with the policy leads on CCTV and ANPR at the Home Office. We've had meetings with the Camera Surveillance Commissioner and set up a Yahoo group. We're in the process of gathering data, elements of best practice, guidelines, policies, procedures from around the different sections of the security industry where CCTV is deployed. And we're in the process of developing our website. Part of our collaborative approach is we're willing to listen and we're willing to learn from all of you. Now, before I go on to the issue of questions, let me tell you that one of the things that we're doing as part of our reassurance is that we're maintaining a register of interest of all the delegate forums. If you are part of this forum, you must register all your commercial interests. And that is a requirement that we have in place. We're independent. We're about confidentiality to protect the confidentiality of individuals, but we're also about engaging with everybody out there. How can you help us? Well, you can help us by making contact with us, engaging with us, and letting us know what your views on the deployment of CCTV is, and any material that you wish to share with us as we build the library for developing best practice. Now, if any of you have got any questions, I'm more than happy to field them.